In Revenge of the Sith, Windu goes to arrest Palpatine after discovering his true identity as Darth Sidious. After defeating Palpatine in a duel, Windu is confronted by Anakin. Out of fear for his wife's life, Anakin ignites his lightsaber and chops Windu's arm off, turning to the dark side and wiping out the Jedi Order as there was minimal defenses at the Jedi Temple. But what if this wasn't the case and Anakin's lightsaber collided with Windu's blade instead of his arm? Windu would immediately scream at Anakin and command him to stop. Anakin has turned to the dark side, his emotions have run rampant and he has lost control. He tells Windu that what he is doing isn't the Jedi way, the Chancellor can't be murdered in cold blood. Palpatine blasts lightning at Windu, causing him to be hit and pushed out of the window. As Windu falls to the air, he focuses on the Force in order to break his fall. Over 200 meters below, he latches onto his ship and positions his body so he is safely able to break his fall. In this timeline, Windu still has his arm, and he didn't get hit with as much lightning, meaning that he was safe. Across the galaxy, Yoda senses a great disturbance in the Force which surrounds Windu and Anakin. Yoda immediately contacts Windu, who tells him what happened. They had both feared that Palpatine was colluding with the Separatists, but they didn't believe that he was the Sith Lord. At once, the Grand Master calls an emergency meeting to the Council, asking them all to return to Coruscant at once. A terrible attack is about to commence. Although they didn't know about Order 66, with Palpatine's identity being revealed and him residing at the center of the Republic, it was imperative for all of the Jedi to return. This meant that Jedi who were on planets fighting battles would return, leaving either their apprentices or clone commanders in control of the battle. Sidious executes Order 66 and Anakin takes the 501st Legion to the Jedi Temple to wipe them out. As clones across the galaxy receive their orders and kill their comrades, the Jedi Order is purged. However, the High Jedi Council survives. Those on neighboring planets have already left their clones and are in space, where they all join together and strategize their next moves. Yoda argues for the Council to return to Coruscant at once. By this point, they would have learned about Order 66 from Windu and the other Council members already on Coruscant. Yoda knew that the combined strength of the Council was extremely powerful, and they would be able to defend the Order. When they arrived, most of the damage had been done, but there were still many Jedi to help defend. By the time they entered the temple, Anakin had just left for Mustafar, leaving thousands of clones to complete the purge. They arrived in the middle of the night. Due to Windu's message to the Council, they were able to return far quicker than Obi-Wan and Yoda, who were confused by what was happening in the original timeline and arrived during the morning. As they grouped together, they learned that so far, Council members Shuk Ti, Kit Fisto, Agen Kolar, and Saesee Tiin have been murdered. As the clone troopers descended upon the Jedi Temple, the Council and the remaining allies mobilized to defend the temple. The temple's corridors echoed with the clash of lightsabers and the hum of blaster fire as Jedi Masters coordinated their defenses. The remaining Council members, including Yoda, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Coleman Kaj, each a master in their own right, coordinated seamlessly to defend their order against overwhelming odds. Through strategic positioning and precise combat maneuvers, they turned the temple's corridors into a labyrinth trap for the clone troopers, exploiting every advantage the Force and their environment provided. Together, they orchestrated counterattacks that pushed back the clone forces, buying precious time to evacuate and protect Jedi younglings and Padawans. Their unity not only bolstered morale, but also showcased the power of collective Jedi strength. As the battle raged on, the Jedi faced overwhelming odds from thousands of clones compared to hundreds of Jedi. Plo Koon's foresight and Obi-Wan's strategic ideas kept the defenders one step ahead, ensuring the survival of Jedi who may have otherwise fallen. Around this time, there were still around 350 Jedi inside the temple, alongside the Council, far greater numbers than in the original timeline. Meanwhile, Yoda's presence on the battlefield inspired hope and resilience among the ranks. Amidst the chaos, Mace Windu and a few other Jedi searched through the security recordings to find critical security footage revealing Chancellor Palpatine's treachery, capturing damning evidence of his collusion with Anakin and exposing himself as the Sith Lord. The video depicts Palpatine giving Anakin congratulations for defeating the Jedi. Finally, after 1,000 years of hard work, the Sith had returned and his work in orchestrating the Clone Wars was complete. Although the Jedi already knew that this was true, they now had proof. With Anakin's absence sensed, they redirected their forces to apprehending Palpatine, knowing that his defeat would be crucial in restoring peace to the Force and thwarting the Sith's grand plan. The council gathers together as they decide how to proceed next. Meanwhile, Anakin has killed the separatist leaders on Mustafar and orchestrated all droid units to stop production. The Empire was beginning its ascent, and Anakin didn't realize that the council had survived and was on Coruscant. In this time, Obi-Wan wasn't looking for Anakin, and therefore, he never told Padme about Anakin, which means that she never goes looking for him on Mustafar and will wait in her apartment for him to come back. Anakin was now cemented in the dark side with no possibility of returning. He believed what he was doing was right, that the Jedi were evil, and the only way to ensure peace for his wife and unborn child was through committing his dark deeds. As Anakin stared out at the lava planet on Mustafar, his mission was complete. The Separatist Council was destroyed, meaning that the Separatists have fallen and the Clone Wars was over. But it was not won by the Republic. Instead, the Sith are the winners of the war. Anakin gets in his starfighter and begins his journey back to Coruscant. Different ideas are tossed around by the Jedi Council. Windu wants to find Anakin and Sidious to kill them. He was thinking with his emotions and not the consequences that would follow. He had always hated Skywalker and never trusted the Chancellor. Both of his inclinations were now correct, and now he wanted his revenge. Ki-Adi-Mundi believes that they should go into hiding. They can't win this war now that most of the Order is destroyed. Mundi has surrendered to losing, wanting to live out the rest of his days alone and in peace. Other ideas are given, but nothing resonated with the entire council. But Plo Koon and Kenobi offer the best solution. They explain how killing the Sith now will only confirm the Republic's notion of them being soldiers and violent. Instead, they need a diplomatic solution. This is the way of the Jedi, and they must return to it now to end the conflict. The entire council, bar Windu, begins to nod their heads unanimously. This is the best course of action. From the holonet, Depa Billaba announces that Palpatine is addressing the Senate. Everyone looks at one another. This was their moment. It would be dangerous, but only now can they successfully go and complete a diplomatic solution whilst the galaxy watches. They leave at once and warn the remaining Jedi. They sneak into the Separatist building where they brush past the Coruscant Guard and enter their pod undetected. Palpatine's voice echoed with calculated fury across the Senate arena. His scarred face stood as a reminder of the Jedi's alleged betrayal. He accused the Jedi Order of attempting to overthrow the Republic, manipulating the truth with masterful deceit. In a bold move born out of desperation and resolve, the Jedi Council, led by Yoda, moved their pod into the center of the arena. Sidious snarled as he watched them, hatred boiling in his stomach as he contemplated what to do next. Gasps of astonishment filled the air as Palpatine, momentarily caught off guard, froze. Sensing a crucial opportunity, Sidious swiftly summons the Coruscant Guard, painting the Jedi as traitors to be eradicated. From all sides, clone troopers surged forward, blasters primed and aimed at the Jedi, who stood resolute despite the incoming danger. Yoda stepped forward and began to speak, urging the Senate to see beyond the veil of lies spun by the Chancellor. His words resonated with some, but stirred doubt in the minds of a few senators who began to question Palpatine's narrative. He spoke of the Jedi Order's dedication to peace and justice, recounting their 1,000-year-long history as guardians of peace in the Republic. Yoda questioned the sudden assertion of betrayal, emphasizing that the Jedi had no motive or reason to betray the Republic they swore to protect. Instead, he boldly asserted that it was Chancellor Palpatine who concealed a dark secret, that he was a Sith Lord, the orchestrator of the Clone Wars that had plunged the galaxy into turmoil. With unwavering result, Yoda presented evidence, the security recordings of he and Anakin in the Jedi Temple during its destructions, revealing Sidious's manipulations and actions. As Yoda spoke, his words compelled some senators to question their allegiances, while some remained true in their fear of Palpatine's potential retaliation. In this pivotal moment, the Senate stood on the precipice of choosing between the deception of the Sith or embracing the trust of the Jedi. As a flicker of doubt began to spread among the senators, Palpatine's facade of composure shattered into rage. With hatred spitting from his image, he commanded the clone troopers to eradicate the Jedi, branding them as traitors in the heart of the Senate chamber. In an instant, blaster fire erupted from all directions as the clones, conditioned to obey without question, unleashed a deadly barrage upon the Jedi defenders. With lightsabers ignited, the Jedi Council formed a defensive perimeter. Jedi Masters, including Yoda, Mace Windu, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, led the charge, their lightsabers deflecting blaster bolts while they used the Force to hurl debris and disrupt the clone formations. The Senate floor became a battleground, the air thick with the sound of clashing sabers and blaster fire. Senators were caught in the crossfire, scrambling for cover or fled in terror, some tragically falling victim to stray shots or collateral damage. The room was in chaos. Obi-Wan pressed his comlink which signaled to the remaining Jedi to enter the building and help them. Upon his command, a couple hundred Jedi poured into the Senate building to provide protection to the Council and Senators as they fought through waves of clones to make their way to Sidious. This was an all-out war, reminiscent of the Temple Siege. Around this time, Anakin Starfighter would re-enter the Coruscant system as he made his descent into the planet. The fighting continues in the Senate chamber as light versus evil duels. In the distance, the Council sees Sidious lowering his pod back into his office, attempting to retreat. His red lightsaber was ignited as he blasted lightning to any Jedi who attempted to kill him. The Jedi Council followed Palpatine's desperate retreat into his office and pursued him with grim determination. The Sith was cornered. Sidious faced his pursuers with a malevolent smile, laughing and cackling. Igniting his crimson lightsaber once more, he unleashed torrents of dark side lightning. The Council, undeterred by the Sith Lord's lightning, moved as one, their lightsabers igniting in unison. However, as the fray of the Council's almost meets Palpatine, Anakin Skywalker bursts into the room, his eyes ablaze with conflict and betrayal. The Council hesitates, stunned by the sight of the Chosen One and once Jedi Knight who now aligned with the dark side. Kenobi called out to his apprentice, asking for him for answers. The hatred was seething through Anakin's bones. There was no return for him, everyone could tell. He argued that they never trusted him and treated him horribly, and because of them, he could never fulfill his true potential. Igniting his saber, Sidious and Anakin fought with relentless efficiency, catching the Council off guard. With swift and deadly precision, they struck down Jedi Masters Ki-Adi-Mundi, Depa Billaba, Coleman Kaj. The remaining Council members continued to fight. Yoda leaped across the room, his green blade and acrobatics becoming a massive annoyance for the Sith. Kenobi relied on his Form 3 defensive style to tire out the Sith Lords. Sidious cackled as he fought, loving every second. He blasted lightning from his fingertips and used the Force to choke and evade any attacks. This was sport for him. However, Mace Windu seized an opportunity, severing Palpatine's knee whilst Yoda and his unwavering focus struck a fatal blow to the Sith Lord's throat, ending his reign of terror. Palpatine was dead. Anakin, now alone and surrounded by former allies turned adversaries, faced the Council's collective might. The Chosen One used all of his abilities to try and kill the Council, but it was a lost cause. Kenobi could sense what was about to happen, but he didn't think he could face it. The thought of it upset him too much. The Council's combined strength overwhelmed Anakin, bringing an end to his dark deeds as they killed him. It was over. They had won. After the intense confrontation in Palpatine's office, the Jedi Council regrouped and made their way back through the Senate chambers to help fight off the remaining clones. The Jedi worked together and the presence of the Jedi Council turned the tide of the battle. Eventually, all of the troopers who blindly followed Palpatine's orders had perished. As the last of the clone forces fell, the Jedi Council stood stoically, surveying the aftermath of the battle. After the battle, Mon Mothma would be elected as the new Supreme Chancellor. With the help of the Jedi, she began the quest for reuniting the Republic and ensuring peace for the Republic. Mothma swiftly published the damning evidence of Palpatine's deceit, his orchestration of the Clone Wars and manipulation of the galaxy's destiny. The truth, laid bare for all to see, was essential for allowing the Republic to move forward united. Otherwise, they risked a full civil war from Palpatine's loyalists. And although some believed that Palpatine was innocent, the overwhelming majority knew the truth. As the Senate chambers buzzed with deliberation and resolve, Mon Mothma wasted no time in pardoning the Jedi Order, recognizing their sacrifices and commitment to peace. The Jedi Order worked tirelessly to rebuild following Order 66. Learning from the lessons of their near extinction, the Jedi retreated from public view, believing that the life of politics wasn't for them and they should instead follow the will of the Force. The temple, once home to over 10,000 Jedi, became a place of reflection and study for only 300. Masters and apprentices worked tirelessly, honing their skills in meditation and combat, whilst the archivists meticulously reconstructed lost knowledge and lore. The Jedi Council instituted rigorous reforms to safeguard against future corruption and betrayal, implementing protocols for detecting Sith influence and maintaining a careful eye over the dark side's resurgence. Beyond their physical walls, Jedi diplomats ventured cautiously into the political arena, having spokespeople for the Jedi Order but not going there personally. As the galaxy healed from the wounds of war, the Jedi Order emerged not as conquerors but as guardians of newfound era of peace and justice. If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch What If the Jedi Council Trained Anakin Skywalker, and What If Anakin Told the Council About His Marriage to Padme. Please check out our membership page if you would like to support the channel, it really helps us out. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.